Why do electrons have spin? It is a fundamental, quantum mechanical property. There is no classical spinning ball analogy that works. Why do the laws of quantum mechanics hold? Because every experiment ever devised confirms them. They are the most accurate descriptive framework we have. And there, the chain ends. Not with the bang of ultimate revelation, but with the quiet, steadfast fact of empirical evidence. The universe operates this way. This conclusion may feel austere. It may feel like a surrender. I assure you, it is not. The universe owes us nothing. It does not owe us comforting stories. It does not owe us explanations that fit neatly into the cognitive architecture built for surviving on an African plain. That architecture is ill-equipped for relativity, for quantum superposition, for forces acting across vacuum. Confronted with this mismatch, you have a choice. You can resent the disconnect. You can cling to the hope that a simpler, folksier explanation is just around the corner, that the scientists are being obtuse or arrogant. Or you can choose to see it as an invitation to expand, to grow, to build a new mind, capable of holding the universe as it is, not as you wish it to be. This is the scientific endeavor. It is not the memorization of facts. It is the relentless, disciplined cultivation of a new way of seeing. So I propose a different question. The next time you hold those magnets, feeling that stubborn push, let the old why dissolve. Replace it with how. How precisely does the force diminish as I pull them apart? Inverse square. Beautiful, clean, predictable. How strong is this push compared to the gravitational pull of the entire Earth? Overwhelmingly stronger. A small magnet can hold a paperclip against the planet's whole mass. How can I map its invisible influence? With iron filings, with sensors, with the beautiful symmetry of Maxwell's equations. How can I harness it? To convert motion into electricity, to levitate trains, to peer into the living body without making a cut. These questions have answers. Deep, powerful, glorious answers that give you real leverage over reality. The quest for a reductive why is a dead end. But the pursuit of how is a path to power and to a. And here is the true wonder. The thing that should steal your breath. The magnificent trade-off you get when you abandon the demand for a cozy analogy. It is not that we fail to reduce the magnet's push to something simpler. It is that we succeed in reducing the staggering, kaleidoscopic complexity of the cosmos to a stunningly small set of principles. The arc of lightning and the firing of a neuron. The binding of DNA and the color of a rose. The stability of an atom and the glow of a star. These are not isolated miracles. They are different verses of the same epic poem, written in the language of a few fundamental forces. The repulsion of two magnets is a single, clear note in that symphony. This is unification. This is the deepest beauty physics reveals. The world is not a collection of disjointed mysteries. It is a unified, coherent, mathematically eloquent whole. You ask me to explain magnets by comparing them to something familiar. I am telling you the most profound truth I know. Everything that is familiar is already, and always has been, an expression of the very force you find strange. The solidity of the floor. The warmth of the light, the very consciousness with which you ponder this question. You are not an observer, standing outside the mystery of magnetism. You are the mystery, made flesh and thought. You are a temporary, coherent pattern of electromagnetic interactions, pondering itself. So feel that push in your hands one more time. That is not an anomaly. It is a direct line to the fundamental architecture of existence. And the fact that we can trace that line with mathematics, that we can trust its predictions, that we can build civilizations upon its reliability. That is not a failure of explanation. It is the most profound kind of understanding there is. It is the universe, knowable. And that is everything. In a small village, a cat named Whiskers discovered a magic fish in a pond. The fish promised 3 wishes in exchange for its freedom. Whiskers wished for endless fish, a cozy bed, and a bell that rang softly. The fish granted all 3 wishes, and swam away, leaving Whiskers content and purring in the sun. Forces need a medium. It cries, action at a distance is spooky. The spookiness is in your perception, not in the physics. Your hand never touches the table. The magnets never touch each other. It is all action across a gap. The only variable is the width of the gap your senses are able to resolve. Your struggle, then, is not with physics, it is with psychology. You are fluent in the dialect of electromagnetism spoken at angstrom distances. The dialect spoken at centimeter distances sounds foreign, unnatural. But it is the same language. Asterisk, you might object now. You might say, that's not good enough. We have deeper theories, fields, quantum mechanics, spinning electrons. Surely that explains it. Asterisk, and you are right. We have those things. We have a theory of electromagnetism called quantum electrodynamics, QED. It is, by any objective measure, the most successful, most precisely tested theory in the history of human thought. Its predictions have been verified to 11 decimal places. It is a triumph of the human mind. Asterisk, but you must listen, with brutal honesty, to what a theory like QED actually provides. Asterisk, it provides a formalism, a set of mathematical rules of stunning elegance and power. It tells you how to calculate what will happen. If you give it the configuration of charges and fields, it will give you a number, probability, a force, and energy with godlike precision. It provides unimpeachable description and unmatched predictive power. Asterisk, what it does not provide is a philosophical why. It does not tell you why the universe is built on these rules and not others. It does not reduce the force to something more comforting, more intuitive. It describes the game with perfect accuracy, but remains silent on why this is the game we are playing. Asterisks in science. The chain of why must terminate. It always terminates at the postulates, the foundational assumptions, the things we observe to be true and from which we build everything else. Asterisk, we do not, cannot, derive the universe from pure logic. We are reverse engineers. We observe, we measure, we discern patterns in the chaos. We then craft mathematics, a language that captures those patterns. We test a language by asking it to predict something new. When the world agrees with the prediction, we have learned a fragment of the universe's native tongue. Asterisk, this is what understanding means. In the physical sciences, it does not mean a feeling of cozy familiarity. It means functional mastery. It means the power to predict, to calculate, to build devices that work because they obey the discovered rules. Asterisk, we understand electromagnetism perfectly by this standard. Our understanding is so complete we can use it to manipulate individual atoms, to see the soft magnetic glow of a thought in a living brain, to weave a global network of light and information. That is, understanding. Your question, the longing for reductive analogies, for something else. It asks for translation into the language of your pre-existing intuition. Asterisk. But what if your pre-existing intuition is already written in that language, and you just don't recognize the script? Asterisk. Let's make this concrete. Let's follow the chain of why for a phenomenon less charged with mystery. Asterisk. Why does ice float on water? Because ice is less dense than liquid water. Why is ice less dense? Asterisk. Because the water molecules arrange themselves into a crystalline structure with more empty space when they freeze. Asterisk. Why do they form that specific structure? Because of the unique geometry of hydrogen bonds between water molecules. Why do hydrogen bonds have that geometry? Asterisk. Because of the quantum mechanical properties of the electron in the oxygen-hydrogen bond. Asterisks. Why do electrons have those quantum mechanical properties? Asterisk. Because they are solutions to the Schrodinger's equation, governed by the Pauli exclusion principle. Asterisk. Why does the Schrodinger's equation, with those principles, hold? Asterisk. Because, ... That is what we observe. That is the pattern the universe presents. Asterisks. At every step, you gain depth, but you also defer the question. You push the mystery back, one stage, and very, very quickly, you arrive at the foundational layer, the bedrock, the rules of the game. And at that layer, the only honest response is an empirical one. The universe is configured this way. Asterisk. This is the core of the issue. You have, in your mind, categorized magnets as a special exception, a bizarre outlier in a world of normal, intelligible objects. You have it exactly backwards. Electromagnetism is not the bizarre outlier. It is the background reality. It is the canvas on which the picture of your life is painted. Asterisk. Conduct, a simple audit of your existence at this very moment. Asterisk. Why do these words have meaning for you? Because electromagnetic waves light a specific frequencies are reflecting off a surface and interacting with the photoreceptor cells in your eye, triggering electrochemical signals. Asterisk. Why does your body maintain its form, instead of dissolving into a diffuse cloud? Electromagnetic bonds between atoms, forming molecules, forming cells, forming tissues. Asterisk. Why does your computer exist? The controlled flow of electrons, guided by electromagnetic fields through semiconductor pathways. Asterisk. Why? Is there a sun warming your world? Electromagnetic processes, nuclear fusion, mediated by other forces. but radiating its energy via electromagnetic photons. Asterisk gravity. For the structure of your daily life, it is a whisper. It is 1,036 times weaker than the electromagnetic force. At the atomic scale, it is what glues planets together, but it is not what glues you together. The strong and weak nuclear forces are powerful, but they are hermits, locked in the infinitesimal dungeons of atomic nuclei. Their reach is vanishingly short. Asterisks almost everything that constitutes the texture of your reality, the hardness of objects, the flow of electricity, the colors of the world, the very chemistry of life itself, is a manifestation of the electromagnetic interaction. So consider what you are truly asking when you say, explain magnets to me. You are asking me to explain the most ubiquitous, dominant force in your existence by comparing one of its manifestations to another of its manifestations. You are asking me to explain water by using water. It is a closed loop. It is logically impossible. Let me shift tactics. Imagine trying to explain the taste of salt to someone who has never tasted it. Asterisk, you can talk about sodium and chloride ions. You can describe the crystalline structure. You can discuss its role in nerve conduction, in biology. You can give them the complete, rigorous, scientific account of salt, and they will know all about it, except the taste. Asterisk, the taste itself is irreducible. It is a direct experience. The only way to know it is to taste it. Asterisk, the intuitive grasp of a fundamental force is similar. You do not acquire it by hearing an analogy. You do not acquire it in a moment of epiphany from a lecture. You acquire it by immersion. You acquire it by doing the physics. Asterisk, you wrestle with Maxwell's equations. You calculate the field around a current-carrying wire. You plot the force between two dipoles. You solve problems. You make predictions. You get answers that are, at first, just numbers on a page. Asterisk, and then, over time, weeks, months, years, transformation occurs. The symbols cease to be abstract. The equations cease to be just tools. They start to feel right. They develop an internal necessity. You begin to see the world through them. You build a new intuition, a mathematical intuition, which operates alongside and often overrides your older sense-based intuition. Asterisk, only then does the repulsion of magnets cease to be a mystery. It becomes an expectation. It becomes the obvious, inevitable consequence of the rules. It becomes beautiful in its inevitability. Asterisk, this intuition is earned. It cannot be given. Asterisk, now, I am not leaving you empty-handed. I can, and will, give you the standard, textbook answer. The answer that lives. In the layer just above the fundamental bedrock, asterisk, a magnet is a collection of aligned magnetic dipole moments. Think of each atom in the magnet as having a tiny internal compass needle. In most materials, these needles point in random directions, canceling each other out. In a permanent magnet, an immense number of them are coerced into pointing the same way. Asterisk, these aligned dipoles generate a magnetic field. This field is not a mere mathematical abstraction. It is a physical entity that stores energy, and physics has a supreme directive. Systems evolve toward states of lower potential energy. Asterisk, when you bring two north poles together, you create a high-energy configuration of their combined fields. The system can lower its energy by moving the magnets apart. Therefore, a force appears to push them apart. They repel. Asterisk, that is, the mechanism. That is the proximate cause. Asterisk, you can of course ask another why. Asterisk, why do dipoles create fields? Because a moving electric charge in an electron, with its intrinsic spin, behaves as such and generates a magnetic field. You think you know what you're asking? You think it's a simple question? You hold two magnets in your hands. You feel that stubborn pressure in the empty air between your palms? That invisible wall that pushes back, and the words form in your mind, clean and certain. Why? Asterisk, why do they do that? Asterisk, why do magnets repel? You are asking for a story. You are asking me to take this strange, silent force and connect it to your world, to say like, and fill that blank with something you already trust. Springs, rubber bands, the way your own two hands can press against each other. You want a bridge? A familiar bridge from the mysterious to the mundane. Asterisk, I am here to tell you that bridge does not exist. Asterisk, the question you are asking, the very shape of it, the longing behind it is broken. Asterisk, and if you do not see how it is broken, you will hate every answer you were ever given. You will hear words like magnetic fields and quantum spin, and you will nod. And inside you will feel a quiet, simmering disappointment. Because you weren't given the thing you actually wanted, you were given a description, not an explanation. Asterisk, let me show you the fracture. Asterisk, let's begin with something you believe. You understand completely? Asterisk, press your hand down on the table in front of you. Do it. Feel the solid, unyielding surface. Why does your hand stop? Why doesn't it pass through the wood, through the metal, through the stone? Asterisk, your mind, trained by a lifetime of experience, provides the immediate, effortless answer, because the table is solid. Asterisk, but that is not an answer. That is a synonym. You have simply renamed the mystery. Solid is the what, not the why. It is the label on the box, not the contents inside. Asterisk, go deeper. The table is made of atoms. Your hand is made of atoms. So, it must be that atoms are tiny, hard, impenetrable spheres. That's why they can't pass through each other. Right, wrong. An atom is not a solid thing. It is a ghost. It is almost entirely nothing. If you could magnify an atom to the size of a cathedral, the nucleus at its center would be a single grain of rice, lost in that vast space. The electrons would be like distant, frenzied moths, flickering somewhere near the outer walls. The rest, the overwhelming volume of your cathedral, is a void, a perfect, empty vacuum. Asterisk. Your hand, therefore, is an assemblage of voids. The table is a lattice of emptiness. Asterisk, so I ask you again, with this new image in your mind, why does your hand not sink through the table? Asterisk, why do these two clouds of mostly nothing not simply merge? Asterisk, the answer, the real, technical, precise answer is electromagnetic repulsion. Asterisk. The electrons that swarm at the outer edges of the atoms in your skin and the electrons at the edge of the atoms in the table both carry a negative electric charge. And a fundamental law of our universe is this: like charges repel. They push each other away. This repulsion acts across a tiny gap so infinitesimally small your senses cannot conceive of it. When you touch the table, you are not making contact. You are feeling the summed force of trillions upon trillions of these tiny repulsions, all holding you at a precise, minuscule distance. What you experience as solidity, as touch, as the definitive end of one object and the beginning of another, is in truth a fierce, invisible negotiation of forces across a void. Now, here is the moment where the ground should fall away beneath you. Ask the next question. What? Asterisk, why do like charges repel? Asterisk, stop. Do not reach for the textbook. Do not say because of the electromagnetic force. That is not an answer. That is a tautology. That is saying magnets repel because of magnetism. You have gone in a circle. You have named the thing to explain the thing. Asterisk, you have reached the edge of the map. Beyond here, there be dragons. Asterisk, the electromagnetic force is fundamental. It is one of the four foundational pillars of physical reality. It is not built from smaller parts. It is not the byproduct of a deeper machinery. It is a rule written into the fabric of space-time itself. It simply is. Asterisk, and this is the secret. The truth that flips your world upside down. Asterisk, the force that makes the magnets push against each other in the air is the exact same force that stops your hand from passing through the table. Asterisk, not analogous, not similar in spirit, ionical, the same law, the same interaction, playing out on a different stage. Asterisk, so why does one feel so ordinary, so unquestionable, and the other feel like a magic trick? Asterisk, it is a trick of scale, a trick of familiarity. Asterisk, you have spent every conscious moment of your life immersed in the consequences of electromagnetic repulsion at the atomic scale. Your brain, since infancy, has been building a model of reality, where this specific manifestation of the force is given simple, direct names: hard, soft, solid, liquid. Your intuition, that deep, gut feeling for how the world works, was painstakingly constructed from this one specific experience of the force. Asterisk, but with the magnets, the scale changes. The gap is not a few atomic diameters. It is a gap you can see, a gap you can measure with a ruler. You can slide a piece of paper through it. Your eyes report there is nothing there. And your intuition, so carefully trained on the hidden, microscopic world, revels. You pick up two magnets. You turn them, North Pole to North Pole. You feel that push, that invisible force fighting you in empty air. Asterisk, and you ask the question you think is so simple. Why? Asterisk, why do they repel? Asterisk, you want me to give you an answer that fits in your hand? You want me to say, magnets are like, and then fill in the blank with something you already know? Springs, rubber bands, two hands, pushing. Asterisk, you want a story? A comfortable story that connects this strange thing to your normal world. Asterisk, here is the truth. And you might not like it. There is no story. Asterisk, that question, the way you're asking it, it's broken. And until you see how it's broken, every answer will frustrate you. Even this one. Let me show you why. First, let's talk about what an explanation actually is. You push your hand on your desk. Why does it stop? Why doesn't it go through? Asterisk, because the desk is solid. You say, but that's not an explanation. That's just a label for the very thing you're trying to understand. So all it is, the what, not the why. Asterisk, go deeper. The desk is made of atoms. Your hand is made of atoms. So why don't they pass through each other? You think? Because atoms are tiny, solid balls. No, asterisk, an atom is not solid. It is almost entirely empty space. If an atom were the size of a football stadium, the nucleus would be a single grain of sand at the center field. The electrons would be tiny gnats, buzzing somewhere way out in the cheap seats. Everything in between. Empty. Void. Asterisk, your hand is empty space. The desk is empty space. Asterisk, so why, when you push, do these two vast, mostly empty clouds, not just merge? Asterisk, the answer is electromagnetic repulsion. The electrons in the atoms of your hand and the electrons in the atoms of the desk have the same negative charge, and like charges, repel. That force, acting across a gap of a few atomic widths, is what you feel is solid. What you call touching is actually trillions of tiny invisible repulsions. Now here is the question that should stop you cold. Why do like charges repel? Asterisk, think about it. You can't answer it? You can say, because of the electromagnetic force. But that's just giving it a name, and that's circular. That's not an explanation. It's like saying, why do magnets repel? Because of magnetism. You've just hit bedrock. The electromagnetic force is fundamental. It is one of just 4 fundamental forces in our universe. It is not caused by something else. It is not made of something simpler. It is a basic rule of reality. It just is. Asterisk, and this is the part nobody tells you. Asterisk, the force that stops your hand from going through the desk is the exact same force that makes those magnets push apart. Asterisk, identical. Not similar. Not a cousin. The same. Asterisk, so why does one feel so ordinary and the other feel so mysterious? Asterisks, because of the gap. Because of what your brain is used to. Asterisks, you've been pushing on things since you were a baby. Your brain has built an entire universe of intuition around electromagnetic repulsion acting at a scale of angstroms. Distance so small you'll never see it. You wired that feeling and called it solidity. You called it touch. Asterisk, but with magnets, the gap is visible. A millimeter. A centimeter. You can slide a paper through it. You can see there's nothing there. That feels weird. Wrong. It feels like it needs a special story. Asterisk, but the weirdness is in your head. Not in the physics. The desk never truly touches your hand. The magnets never truly touch each other. It's all electromagnetic repulsion across a gap. The only difference is the size of the gap your eyes can see. Asterisk, your confusion isn't about physics. It's about psychology. You're comfortable with the force at one scale and uncomfortable with it at another.